I just want to give you guys a little idea of where I'm coming from with social media. If you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you know that I'm busy. And you know that anybody who owns their own photography business and wants it to succeed, they're busy. You have to generate client leads. You have to manage businesses, taxes. You have to maybe have somewhat of a social life or a family. And so there's so many things that you're juggling at once. I'm not here to say, okay, there's all these buttons and all these different social networks that you need to be involved in. You need to be everywhere at once. Not at all. What I want you to know is that if you find one social network that truly works for you, you only have to be on one social network if that's where your audience is, if that's what's effective. Now, personally, I am on more than one. For me, I mainly right now use Twitter, Facebook, and my blog. And of course, there are tons of other different tools. But I don't want you to start today thinking, okay, this whole day I'm going to learn about 50 different social networks, how to use every single one, how to sign up for them, how to set up my pages. That's not the idea behind it. Instead, I want you guys to save time. I definitely do not spend more than an hour a day on social networking. I have guilty pleasures of Facebooking, but that's not business related. That's just a guilty pleasure, and I know that you're guilty of that as well. But actual dedicated time, it's definitely less than an hour a day. So when it's all said and done, I'm hoping that you'll kind of take away this idea that if you set yourself a roadmap and you have a social marketing strategy, you can really focus in on making your time worth it, so that you can go take pictures, that you can find new clients, so that you can be with your families instead of spending all of your time online. So that's what we're geared towards today, and so kind of this is out to the audience as well. I am happy to answer whatever questions, but focus more on the big picture, because we all know that social networks change constantly. There's always new ones. When I wrote my book, Google Plus didn't exist. My book's not old. It's only been out really to the public for 10 months or something like that. So it's constantly changing. And so focus on the big picture, so all of these things apply 2 years from now, even 6 months from now. And we already had a discussion about Facebook and how they change it every week. So that's why generally when I have my slides about Facebook, it's like really generic, because they change it nonstop. Anyway, and I thought it was really cute. Did you see how he updated his Facebook status to married? Very cute. Okay, anyway, so if you want some additional resources, if you guys go to my blog later on tonight, I have a couple presentations about social media. One is about blogging that's on there. And there's one that's more truncated, shortened version of today's. So if you want kind of a summary of it, that's up as well. The key that people kind of forget is that what grows your business is people. And that's why I know all of you can secretly immediately think of a photographer that's okay at photography but really successful at business. And I guarantee you it's because they're a good people person, or they know how to network, they know how to build relationships, because that's what it's all about. Especially if you're thinking about the typical consumer who, okay, they might be able to tell kind of what a good photo is, but they don't know the difference between your good photography and your good photography. So why would they choose one person over the other? It's about that individual's personality, and it's about the relationships. So everything when you're approaching social media, remember that it's about relationships. If you have a Facebook page and throw photos up there and sit back and say, okay, let's go new clients, it doesn't work like that. It's about reaching out and having relationships with these individuals. So that's something to keep in mind for the full day. It doesn't replace traditional marketing. I will say most of my marketing, so I'm a fashion photographer, most of my marketing is social media for the most part, but I still send out, I still will call them on the phone. I will still send out postcards. I will still do direct emails. I still do all of that, but I use social media to follow up. Last week, I had a business meeting, met the individual, got their business card. First thing I do, Facebook, Twitter, make sure I have some way to keep in contact with that individual, especially since I know a lot of people in business. We get a million emails, instantly get pushed down, and you forget about them. But a really casual tweet or a Facebook message is a way to keep that person, keep you in the top of their mind. So it's about, yes, you still have to do the traditional marketing, but it's all about the relationships, and that's how I approach everything. There's no quick solutions. So it's building and maintaining those relationships. So if you photograph somebody, whether it's checking in periodically on Facebook, or maybe you met that editor of a magazine at a party. Maybe it's tweeting them once in a while to say, oh, I saw that article that you just wrote, found it really interesting. So that's how I spend my time. For me, I originally started doing portrait photography, and now I do more commercial fashion. So I've actually had kind of the gamut of how you would use social media, whether it's individuals or publications. But what I keep in mind too is even if, let's say you're an architectural photographer and you want to find a way into working with an architectural firm, you're not networking with the firm, you're networking with the people in the firm. So it's all about people throughout the entire thing. So real quick to go through my story and how it relates. After college, I moved to London, and I decided I was going to be a fashion photographer. And how it works is you shoot images and you send them off to magazines, and you really hope that they publish it. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking. That's what everybody does. So what I was doing is I didn't have luck in the beginning at all. So what I would do is I would shoot a fashion shoot, something like this maybe. And I would put it up on my blog, and I would talk about the hair and the makeup, and I would use words like fire, and I would talk about avant-garde fashion, and I'd list the designers that were in there. And so I'm just putting a ton of words and content online. And at that point, eventually, I started getting emails from magazines or from some clients that had come across my work through social media and my blog. So kind of one of the key examples that I have that really got me hooked to social media, and this was, not that it was even that long ago, but it wasn't really that prevalent even 6, 7, 8 years ago. This shot right here, I did a shoot just for fun. And I labeled it with words like body art and tattoo and beauty and avant-garde and fashion and the name of the model and the MAC cosmetics we use and all of those different things. So then there was a magazine, Sublime magazine in London, which is a big magazine over there. They had an issue that was themed body art. They did a search, they found me, and now I still work with them. But then it was a way for me to build. Oh, I've shot for this magazine. You say that to the next magazine. Oh, can you recommend somebody? So that was how I got hooked on social media early on, is because I had good success with my blog in finding my target audience and kind of breaking through the noise. The next part of that was after London, I moved back up to upstate New York from Binghamton, New York originally, in case anyone knows where that is, college there. And I opened up a portrait studio. And at that point, I don't know if you guys remember this, when people did not want to put portraits on Facebook. And they were like, no, we're not giving away photos. And I was like, yes, I mean, absolutely. Give them low resolution files, get everybody talking, get everybody excited. So I opened my portrait studio after returning, and it was just me, and I had more business than I could handle easily within a couple months. Because I was getting everybody talking and excited. Still today, I can still tie 30% of my business somehow to Facebook and maintaining relationships on Facebook. So instantly, okay, great success with blogging, great success with Facebook, and so that's why I was attracted to it. But I made a ton of mistakes along the way that wasted a whole bunch of time, and so that's when I wrote my book about new media and social networking, to try to help people save time and take a look so that I still wasn't kind of putzing around and just throwing messages out there, figuring out what worked so that I could focus more on my photography and less on the social media aspect of it. So today, just a couple interesting stories. For example, I found my studio on Twitter. I was somebody that followed me when I was like, hey, I'm moving to New York. He was like, hey, I have a studio if you are interested in sharing a studio with me. I am sponsored by Adobe, and originally it was because I tweeted a blog post about Lightroom. Somebody at Adobe said, oh, hey, that's cool, why don't you come meet me? So I have stories like that. I've met clients on Twitter. I've also had photos. I tweet behind the scenes of a shoot that I did and tweet at an editor of a magazine. They say, oh, we'd be interested in taking a look at that shoot. When I have a client, like I shoot a jewelry campaign, I'll follow them on Twitter and Facebook to see what they're up to. It's all of this, just there's no simple answer. It's just part of how I do my business. So don't expect super simple answers. It's just kind of how you engage with individuals.